thought the best way to kick off the new year on this channel was to do a Q&A so that you could get to know us a bit better, because we've never sat down and just talked about ourselves, so you can get to know us a bit better. Hope you enjoy. Let's get on with the questions.
So first question is, how are you settling into your new life in China? Oh!
China? What?
How are you settling into your new life in Japan?
We're not in Japan. Oh my god, what is this?
How are you settling into your new life in Thailand?
I think we're pretty happy in Chiang Mai. I'm glad we've made the decision to move there. It's weird because right now we're in Bali. We're going home tomorrow, and it's really weird getting your head around the fact that home is Chiang Mai and not England.
It's also really weird actually wanting to go home. Because if you're like, you know, you're living in your home country, if we were going back to the UK, you know, you get that fever of, oh, I'm going back to work, and there's that dread. But the thought of going back to Thailand and going back to our house, and I actually want to go home.
And I feel like we've settled in pretty easily because we've, for the last 10 years, been visiting Thailand together, and Dom even before that. But it's like we know how the country works, and it doesn't feel like there's a massive culture shock for us being there.
I don't know, see, I don't really agree. Like, and also we've lived in Thailand before, so this isn't our first time. But actually for me, I've experienced more culture shock now. I don't know why. Actually, I'm feeling more culture shock than I ever had before.
What is affecting you though? What kind of culture? What part of it? The sabai mentality.
So
are you struggling to get with the sabai?
I'm struggling. I'm quite meticulous about certain things. And
paperwork.
Yeah, and paperwork, like similar to Japan, you know, and Thailand, it's a big thing. And being a foreigner, being what we're known as an alien in Thailand, for those that don't know, a lot of documents like from immigration police, we are referred to as aliens. That is the direct translation from Thai to English. You know, there's that natural, you know, you feel vulnerable because we are guests in Thailand.
And the visa can be a bit
sticky.
And
the problem is, it's not like, right, here are the rules. In Thailand, things change a lot. We arrived here in September 23, and I thought I knew certain rules about visas because we've done it all before. But the fact is, it's actually changed because of COVID and other factors.
That it's also the mentality of like, oh, it can wait. Like, there's a very relaxed mentality in Thailand, and it's good most of the time, but when you're trying to get your visa and your work permit and all this stuff, it can be quite worrying because it's like sometimes they like to cut it fine. But apart from that, I'd say life in Thailand is pretty convenient. Next question, looking back to the start of 2023 when we were in Japan, it feels like years ago and yesterday at the same time.
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing. It's odd how it feels like it's a very distant memory, but actually it wasn't that long ago at the same time.
It kind of feels like a dream in a way. But yeah, the question is, did you record any additional Japan content and not publish it? And how did your trip end? As for content that didn't go out, there were certain bits. I don't know if we put Shirakawa-go in. I know that there was some footage of us getting creeped out at Michinoeki road station overnight. Do you remember in...
Oh yeah, that's not bad.
Go to the other one.
Why?
Because this place is creepy. The toilets are scary.
Not even funny. It's a car park. Right?
Dom, you were scared to go in the toilets here. Why is there tinfoil above the toilet?
It's just complimentary tinfoil if you need to cook up a spud.
Why would there be tinfoil? Why is it above that door?
What's the...
There's loads of creepy noises.
Please. There's creepy noises in my toilet. Why didn't we
because basically I had no sort of storyline to put it in, because it was like I have these little blobs, these little nuggets of footage that I couldn't really fit anywhere, and it was just kind of random.
But maybe the answer to that is whack it in a BTS video.
Yeah, so it would be good for us to put maybe that footage on Patreon, because it makes no sense putting it on YouTube now, because it's like
just sporadic clips of random of me getting lost in a toilet.
Yeah, we were staying at this Michinoeki. There was no one there, and it was pitch black, and there was just these creaking noises coming from the building, and it was really scary. And I think in Fukuoka we filmed some little bits, but they just didn't really make sense.
It was very sporadic, and it was just creating a story from it, I think, was the hardest part.
Yeah, it was like, how do I put this in a video, because it won't make sense.
Because this was part we were battling with, like, electric. Like, this is actually really embarrassing. It's like I got a notification while we were in Japan. The only source of electric we kind of had was basically there was an inverter in our little K car that we rented, and I just assumed that it wouldn't take 100 watt
because it was such a tiny inverter.
It was just like this Chinese inverter, and I didn't want to break it or something. So we were completely relying on going into McDonald's because we didn't really feel it didn't really feel right going into like a local cafe or I don't know, and
but
plugging
with
in.
McDonald's you can get away with turning up and plugging your laptop in. So we would literally spend like all day in a McDonald's just editing a video to put up.
But yeah, cut long story short, so I got a notification that in 2023 that I was in the top 20% of spending in McDonald's. And this is why I'm fat. But the context of it is that was all in Japan, because we were frequently going in there buying coffees, buying food because I mean at one point Emma was editing. I remember you edited literally, it must have been 12-14 hours.
I sat for 12 hours on a stool in McDonald's. I think it was the cow resort video.
The what?
The cow resort, you know, remember that?
The top quality cow resort in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice looking back on that trip. It was like a once in a lifetime kind of trip, and I would definitely do it again. I don't know if I'd stay in the car for 3 months. If we're carrying on the question, how did it end? The last week was Golden Week, which means that things were totally rammed.
Everything is shut down.
Everything was either shut or fully booked, and we were in Hakone. Oh, that's somewhere that we filmed that never got put out, because I started feeling really like down in the dumps, because I like to shower every morning, and
so I don't apparently, but I like to shower every morning.
Yeah, but I like need a shower every
Craves
morning,
it.
or I feel crappy. And
I tried to explain to you that going into a van, especially a tiny little car, like, we're not going to shower. Emma at the start, I know, we're going to be in a car, I'm camping, I'm living life.
yeah, but I still liked it. It was still good.
You can't. Emma wants to like do the full on like blow dry the hair, like, you know. It's like, but we're living out of a car.
Yeah, but we were in a car park in Hakone, and it was like 2 in the morning, and I hadn't showered for like 2 days, and I just started crying, and
Just questioning life.
And I was like, what is this? I want to use an onsen, but I have a tattoo on my back that's relatively big. I can sort of cover it with my hair, but when you have to go in the onsen, you have to tie your hair up. And I got away with it quite a lot when we
went
were
into Yakuza one.
We went into a Yakuza one in Osaka, definitely. But also when we were in remote areas, we found really empty ones, really nice empty ones. We were in Hakone at Golden Week, and it was rammed. So I knew I couldn't really go in an onsen, and I ended up just washing my hair in a disabled toilet in the car park, and it was a low point to say
But
the
other people had said to us coming up to Golden Week, like, you know, make sure you book somewhere for Golden Week, right? And they were completely correct. But Golden Week, this was the end of our trip. We've run out of money practically.
Yeah.
And then Golden Week, I mean, prices in Japan are expensive anyway, I think, for accommodation.
For hotels.
But Golden Week, it's triple.
We were just forced to like spend probably a week in this just car park in Hakone, which great views, but I just felt terrible. No, even more annoying is just after that, we were on our way back to Tokyo and going along a toll road, and we realised that most toll roads have public showers at the road stops.
These are on the high toll rate roads, the super highways. Tolls are pretty expensive anyway, so we were sort of trying to, as much as we could, stay off that. But then in doing that, it meant that we weren't
aware that you could just go onto the highway and go and have a shower
and pay like I remember.
I think it was 100 yen.
Where was it? I went to it, and it was literally it was a typical trucker stop, and there was like numbered chairs. The men's, there was 4 showers, and there was literally a queue of like 20-30 guys just
all
sitting there, all with the baskets, and I'm just sitting there with my towel thinking, oh my god, there's a shower. There wasn't that many people, but I went down the queue a bit just to give people some space, and then like a Japanese guy was like, no, come on, sit down, because you're meant to sit in the as you go one. But I was giving them room, but obviously that's not the correct way to do it.
Yeah.
So.
And I remember at one near the end, we were near Kobe, and we went to one, and I couldn't get it to work. Because you had to go in 7-Eleven to get the token, and then go into the other building.
Yeah, this is the same. It's the same place.
The same place, and I couldn't get it to work, and I was talking to the lady at 7-Eleven, she couldn't understand me, but we got there in the end that I wanted a shower, because she was like, why do you want a shower here? Really random.
Like, are you a trucker? Like,
and then she escorted me out into the other building, showed me how to use the shower, and then the coin wouldn't actually like work, and 10 minutes later she came and knocked on the door to check that I had managed to do it okay, and I was like, how did she know that I didn't managed to work this out? And I was like, thank God. And she came in and she got in the shower cubicle with me, because it was broken. You had to shut the door of the shower, then put the coin in, and then it would start. So she had to come in, shut the door in the shower with me and be in there with me and put the coin in and the shower
run out.
But yeah, it was just so nice to have that interaction with someone. So if you're road tripping around Japan, there are showers on the toll roads. You just gotta find them. There are a lot of them because there's a lot of truckers going around Japan. That's how they shower. And it doesn't matter if you have tattoos, you can easily go in. But yeah, our trip ended kind of sad that we couldn't shower, but didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave Japan, and we did think about moving there, but with the dog, it's a lot more difficult finding somewhere to live, and the work culture is a bit more intense than Thailand.
I think finding someone to live in Japan in general is hard. Like, there's all these strict requirements about foreigners. Like a lot of landlords don't seem to want to rent to foreigners, and if they do, they want, you know, impeccable references, large deposits. And then when you've got a dog as well, it's like we found this place. I found this really nice place in a nice area. I mean, it was literally a box, right? But we were willing to sacrifice it. But then when I said, we're
There's
a couple. Oh no, you can't.
It's too small.
And I was like, okay, but is it, you know?
We're willing to live somewhere small.
That's okay. I mean, it doesn't bother me. I thought they were just being friendly. Like, are you sure? Like, this is really small. I mean, I know we'll make it work, because I mean, we've lived in a studio in the UK before, which was.
We lived on a sofa bed.
I mean, that studio, like a mansion compared to this place we're looking to rent. But they just weren't having it. And then as soon as I said I had a dog, and they're like, oh right, okay. No way. If you want a dog, we need, you know, X amount of square footage kind of thing. Unfortunately, it wasn't an option for us anyway.
No.
But it's not like Thailand was second best. I mean, I've been coming to Thailand since I was 12. Like,
we absolutely love Thailand.
And we've frequented it every year in holidays. So when we were at university, we were always flying here in our holidays.
We come and spend 3 months.
We've lived here.
Summer.
You know, and we've also travelled on the outskirts of Thailand. So when I say outskirts, I mean like Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos.
It was always somewhere we wanted to move, but we weren't sure when was the best time to come back.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd always planned to come after we did our degree, which I'll talk about in a minute.
But life just gets in the way, and then it's actually a good segue onto the next question. Next question is there anything you didn't like about Japan?
And the main thing that springs to mind, and probably one of the only things that spring to mind, to be honest, is when you're trying to sleep in a car park or you're trying to sleep in a camper van, truckers or cars, they leave the engine on and just go to sleep.
Which is great, really. I mean,
it's nice that you can do that.
Yeah.
And not have to worry about safety, but it means the engine is running. But, like, even when it wasn't cold or hot outside, they leave the engine running.
I always found it odd, because I tried to speak to local people about it and say, you know, is there any particular reason? Or I tried to look, like, Googling it. Is there any particular reason why people do it? And then some people were commenting saying, you know, they're doing it for the aircon. Other people were saying they're doing it because they're watching TV, in their trucks on the screens, because that's quite common in Japan.
Or for a microphone, or like a walkie-talkie type thing.
Yeah, so they need the electric on for so the
like
communication system. But then it's like, surely you'd have an additional battery for that.
Yeah.
It was really irritating at times, because it wasn't just to do, it's the noise, it's obviously one thing, but it's when you were staying in some of these Michinoekis and there were like endless trucks, and then
at least 100 trucks.
And then we've got this little matchbox that we called home in the middle, and then all the fumes of like all the huge exhaust pipes, and it's just
you'd
black
get out
smog,
and you'd be like choking on the smell of it. And one night, like, this lorry pulled up next to us at 3 a.m.
and wanted to fight.
Woke me up, and I was so annoyed because it was so loud. I was like, why did you park right next to us? There's so many spaces.
Yeah, that was
why
weird.
did you park next to us? And it was so loud, and I don't know if it's because I was half asleep or if this is a genuine, like, something you should worry about, but I was worried we were going to get gassed out in the van,
and I thought
it was going
to be carbon monoxide poisoning or something.
Yeah, because it was right next to us and it was running for hours and hours on end, and yeah, I was like, oh, could this be a problem? And it probably can in hindsight, because I read on the news that if you spend 15 minutes in traffic, you can get brain damage.
Great.
So maybe we have brain damage.
That's why I'm loopy loo.
That explains
that Japan road trip.
But that is probably the only thing I can think of that I didn't like about Japan. And it's quite a niche thing, like that won't concern most people. Also, if you have got to this point in the video and you haven't got too bored, I just want to say that we did make a travel guide for Japan. It's not just for if you're in a camper van, it's also just full of everywhere we went. Restaurants, onsen, hotels. It's like road trip routes. There's 3 routes that cover like Osaka, Kyoto, up to Nagano, Tokyo, and then there's Kawaguchi-go route, a Shikoku route, and it's just full of places we went and the pins and information and stuff. So if you're interested in that, there's a link in the description. Yeah, I had fun putting it together and reminiscing, and
it's not a standard itinerary that you'd find, because we sort of discovered all these places like on the road while we were there. This isn't something that we found on Google kind of thing.
Yeah, and it just seemed a waste to have all these places we went to and not share it, because some of them were really great. I left out any rubbish ones, of course, like that Love Hotel we went to in the middle of Tokyo.
No, that's page 1. Another question we've had, and I don't think we've ever spoken about it before, is how we met. We was in this nightclub, and I looked over and I was like, howdy.
Ew. When I was 17 and Dom was 16,
Toy boy vibes.
we met through mutual friends at a firework display. Which is really
And the
random.
fireworks just never stopped, did they, Emma?
So yeah, we met at a firework display when we were that age, 10 years ago.
And we've been inseparable ever since.
Practically, yeah. We met at the firework display, and then Dom, about a week later, took me ice skating in London, and I'd never really been anywhere that interested. I haven't really been to London that much, and then we've practically been together every single day since.
Basically, we just go ice skating every day now.
No, I actually hate ice skating.
No, I forgot what. See,
I
just
hate ice
ruin the memory.
No, because I'm always scared that I'm gonna get chopped up by a blade.
Yeah, to be fair.
I like roller skating, but ice skating seems dangerous.
But then after that, we went to
Winter
Wonderland for Christmas. So
yeah, we met 10 years ago and been together ever since. And we got married in May 22. And Percy was there.
Percy was best man, or best pug. Completely took over the show.
Yeah, he was
snorting, making all kinds of noise.
No, but when we were saying our vows, he was like barking because he wanted to come up.
And then when we were signing our marriage certificate, I had to put him on my lap because my mum couldn't control him, and Emma's mum couldn't control him. He couldn't be tamed.
He just wanted to be picked up by.
So
Dom.
Percy was part of the signing experience, which I forgot what they called the person.
Registrar?
So the registrar was shocked, but also loving it at the same time. Right. Is there anything you miss about being in the UK?
I miss jacket potatoes and baked beans. And cheese. You can get cheese in Thailand, but it's never the same.
Yeah, miss the food. No, but it's like, yeah. But
Thai food's great, but when you want...
I don't know, but actually...
I don't miss it too much, but...
I mean, it's weird looking on, like, social media, so Instagram, things like that, and you see people in going up to London, really Christmassy, the cold. And I don't miss the cold, but
I do.
That kind of.
I miss the cold.
The clean air when it's cold, you put in your jacket coats and your scarves on.
The cosy feeling, you mean?
Comfy, cozy. No,
you miss the cozy Christmas.
I don't know. I miss that because it's like in Thailand, the temperature's it doesn't really change. It's always reasonably hot. It's got lower actually recently in Chiang Mai. It's 16, 18, 20 degrees.
That's still hot.
And that's like, cool, get out on the lads.
Yeah. But I really miss the cold weather, which it sounds weird to say, but yeah, I miss the cold weather. And in hindsight, we used to do a lot of trips in winter in the camper van.
We always go to Cornwall. Because off-peak prices, whoa!
Yeah, there's no tourists, and it's normally weirdly sunny in winter. So you've got the bright blue skies, and it's just like, the air's really nice. You put your coat on.
But then at the same time, you're going in cafes overlooking the sea, like having a coffee
and a pasty.
It's nice.
Yeah.
And that's also what we liked about Isle of Man. We've been there in sort of the winter months.
Yeah.
Approaching, around May time, where it's still cold. But
we went in November for a month.
We went in November as well.
We spent a whole month in the Isle of Man.
And it's that same feeling. It's the
cozy.
It's the cold and
fresh.
Fresh. So
Yeah.
just throwing words out.
I think, to be honest, that's probably the main thing I miss.
Yeah.
The cold.
That changing season, because in Thailand you don't see it as much.
Yeah, it's like it's just forever the same season, which to Thai people it probably feels like there's a big change.
There's people at school and there's kids that they've got their hoodies on, you know,
They're wearing
they've got coats on. I'm like, you're crazy.
It's 20
but
degrees.
It is colder. It's a lot colder for them.
But for us, it's still.
I'm just walking around with my shirt and thinking, well, this is the ideal temperature. So their winter is sort of ideal in terms of heat. So the next question is: are you a social pair, or more enjoy your own company? Now, it's a hard question to answer because I would like to think that we're both pretty sociable.
Yeah, we are sociable, but it's hard to meet people. I think, especially when you're a couple.
It's like, for example, we've been, well, this was a very long time ago, but we did some backpacking, and we also did it, well, I say backpacking, we went to Japan, the first time we went to Japan together, and we stayed in a hostel, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know, when you're in a hostel as a couple, it's like...
people don't want to go near you.
Because they feel like they're imposing, or, you know, it's a different kind of vibe when you've got a bunch of people that don't know each other at all together. But then if you're in that situation and you're a couple, because obviously we know each other, it's a different dynamic.
Yeah.
So people seem to want to stay away from you. And being here, it's the same thing. So it's like, well, we're working in the same place, so we know the same people. You know, it's hard to socialise because we are a couple.
Yeah, people just assume you want to stick to yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, we like to talk to people and like to meet people and all that. But
so
it's just
if
hard.
you see us, say hello.
Yeah, basically, like if you ever want to meet up, let's do
it.
But yeah, we're desperate to try and make some Thai friends as
Yeah.
well. When we lived in Pattaya, we managed to sort of make friends
yeah,
with
we
this
had-
community of people our own age.
Yeah,
Thai
there was
people,
there was
and
this
it
kind
really
of
nice.
there was this friendship group that we sort of mingled ourselves into, and it was nice. But then we went back to the UK to do some go back to university.
It'd be nice to find that in Chiang Mai, like a friendship group.
But I think it's a lot harder because it's like there's so many foreigners here. They assume you're a tourist.
But me and Dom are both doing this Thai language course, which we hope is going to help.
Yeah.
Because we want to make friends in Thailand. We want to integrate properly.
Visiting, it's like I know a lot of vocabulary, and I know how to say practically what I want. But I'm not, I'm having issues with like tone. I think is one. So because it's a tonal language, there's 5 different tones. So sometimes it can change the meaning completely. But in the context of the situation, generally people understand me. But then also it's like actually having a proper conversation I would struggle with. So this course that we're doing is really helping with that.
We don't go clubbing or anything like that, but we go for a beer every now and then.
Yeah, we went to sort of like where a lot of the tourists / expats go. It's like an area in Chiang Mai where with bars, and it's nice. It fits the purpose, but it just wasn't for me.
Yeah, I feel like our days of drinking are over.
I mean, we're not old at all. We're still young, but it's like I feel like I've done that already, and it's
I'm not really that interested in.
Can we go and get a bottle of wine and a cheese board? Is that old?
Okay, yeah, that's more the.
That's the vibe. Right.
That's where we're at. So if you want some
we're
cheese,
old fannies. If you like cheese and you like a decent bottle of red.
No, I don't like red.
Emma used to drink red wine and now won't drink it.
It's like when you have too much of something and you can't drink it anymore, which I had with fried rice when I first come to Thailand. I used to be so picky at eating that I would only eat fried rice with shrimp, and I ate it to death and I can't even look at it anymore.
Khao Pat Gung.
But now I love all Thai food, so it's kind of okay.
Yeah,
I can avoid
when I met Emma, she had certain staple meals which consisted of about 3 meals that she would have.
Spaghetti bolognese.
So spag bowl, chicken nuggets,
and tomato soup. Heinz.
So a really nutritious, well balanced diet. And then when
and crisps.
Crisps.
I'd have like 5 baskets.
There was a basket of crisps in the family household, and that was the go-to. But I think when we moved in together, it's like I had to sort of be like, well, Emma, look, we can't afford to be fussy, so we're going to eat what we eat.
Cheap.
No, it's not.
Because you just make loads of spaghetti bolognese and freeze it.
That's it. And this is what I was working with. But luckily, Emma now has a more wider range of palate.
Yes, and it took me a very long time to get to that point.
Because
if anything, I think it was COVID. I started experimenting with recipes because that was the only thing I could do.
The main thing is when we started coming to Thailand, it's like Emma didn't want to eat on the street food. Emma didn't want to, and it's like I'm gonna get ill. And it's like, well, let's get
it's
ill.
a mixture of that and just being scared to try things, and I think you really have to get past that. And I'm sure there's plenty of other people that are scared to try different foods when they go travelling, but
Yeah.
if you give it a go, the chances are you're probably going to like it. You just have to try it. Like, you're not going to like some things and you're going to love others, so
Variety, spice of life.
100%.
Right, anyway, next question. So a good segue from that is what's your favourite Thai food? Now, it's funny I understand that is, I'm a complete hypocrite now. It's like I have my sort of go-to Thai dishes that I like.
I know what you're going to say as well.
And it's, no you're not.
You get the same one every day at school.
No, I don't.
At school we have like 15 different vendors that all do different things.
It's like a food mart. I don't know what to call it.
Food hall,
and there's all
got...
they're independent businesses, and they come into the school and they're there every day. And it's we've got Japanese food, we've got all kinds of Thai food. So they're specialists. We've got khao soi, Isan food. I've got dessert, drinks. People that specialise in the drinks. There's all these different things.
The drinks.
The drinks lady.
Okay.
She's a lovely lady.
Where are you going with this?
So I love a pat kapao.
Who doesn't?
Pat kapao kai dao, which basically is minced pork. Well, you can have chicken or minced pork, fried egg on top, Thai basil, chili, rice. What more does one need in their life?
Yeah, it's very simple, but it tastes really, really good.
It's that it's that yolk comes down. It's hitting the meat.
Have it with an egg on top.
It's hitting the meat. It's hitting the rice, and it's just heaven.
So that's your favourite.
But now, actually, Emma's being. I really like khao soi as well because we tried that in Payao. That was the first time I'd ever had it.
The first time we had khao soi was when we were living in Payao, and we went with our friend group. They took us to this food market, and we're like, they were all having khao soi, and we were like, oh, okay, that looks interesting.
Like we just got into this vibe with them. Everyone just goes because everyone works so hard in Thailand. Like if they would just go out at 2 a.m. and eat and have, because it's the only time they had. And we were the only foreigners in this market. And we're going down there with them, like trying all this different food. Half the time I had no idea what I was eating. But
we used to get this clear soup that would always have flies in it.
It always had flies in it, but it was the best clear soup I've ever had.
I'd gone from totally fussy to picking out flies
just
happily out of my
that would do. If someone served you in the UK, Europe, a fly in your soup.
Yeah, a good 3 flies.
A good 3. If someone
really tiny ones, but yeah.
Even one, you would be up in arms. But in Thailand, just like that'll do, and off it goes.
Just flicking them out. Funny enough, I never got ill in Payao ever from food. Before we lived in Payao, we never really travelled much of the north. We'd more be like central, and I think that's
northern Thai cuisine is probably my favourite.
Yeah,
I think.
But we only sort of discovered it when we lived in Payao.
Definitely.
Even though we'd come to Thailand for many years, we didn't really try northern food until then, and it's definitely my favourite as well. It's not crazy spicy, which I mean.
So if you compare it to Isan food,
like
it's heavy on the spice. The somtam papaya salad is known as,
which I do like. We had it recently, and I really like somtam, but I like to eat it in private because my nose is like a fountain, my eyes are like a fountain.
I like to eat it behind closed doors,
and I'm just like having to wipe my nose constantly. But it tastes so good. But khao soi is my favourite. You get the soup, the noodles, really nice noodles.
The meat just falls off the bone.
Yeah, the meat is really tender and really good, and then you get like little cornflakes on top. So there's a good variety within the dish, and that's 100% my favourite Thai food.
So yeah, the next question is what have you studied and what jobs did you do in the past?
Okay, so my first job was Dom wrote me in to sell Clean Easy products, and if you don't know what that is, it's like Avon for cleaning products. And we both used to have mopeds back home, and we'd zoom around on our mopeds, dropping off catalogs.
There's nothing wrong with a good pyramid scheme.
Oh, it was terrible.
Feed it to the man.
But then,
you quickly find out that actually, this is all a big con, and
you can't make much money when you're the person selling them.
You have to recruit, and
the person who recruited you gets money from you, and then they get. It's literally a pyramid scheme. And it was disastrous.
But the reason why I pushed for us to do it was, one is that I saw some opportunity in it, but We were literally knocking on doors, and it's literally representing this book, and we're like, right, this is our book, doing the old sales pitch, and we were getting sales, and
Giving me
we
nightmares.
didn't make much money, but it actually, I think it really helped. It really
build,
helped both
like,
of us,
confidence,
because then when we then got jobs in hospitality while we were studying, if you can knock on someone's door at 5 in the afternoon, at 11, 4 in the afternoon,
face the rejection, and then you have to go and collect the catalogue as well,
or you give it,
and they'll throw it in the bin.
And they throw it in the bin, and then you're like, "Where's my catalogue?" Oh, I throw it away. Did you not read my polite note on the front of the catalogue?
Just don't do Clean Easy. I don't know if they're still
not running anymore.
Oh well,
they're online. They're not doing.
You're safe from Clean Easy.
You're safe from that. Stay away from those pyramids.
Yes. When we turned 18, we got bar jobs, and my first bar job, I didn't realise it was a bar. I thought it was a cafe. And I turned up for the interview, and he was like, "Are you sure you can work till 6 in the morning?" And I was like, "What? I thought this was a coffee shop." And he was like, "No, we're open from 11 a.m. till 6 a.m. every single day." And I got the job, and I did it, even though I was at college. That was a weird job.
One of the customers, or who used to help run that place, actually opened his own pub, and then he recruited Emma to work at this pub, and it was basically his glorified front room.
Good times.
I picked you up once, and Emma had got drunk with the owner in the pub, and she had to leave her moped. We had to wheel it into the pub and leave it there for the night because she was so slaughtered. We had to get a taxi home.
Well, because he had brewed his own moonshine and he was trying to get me to try it. Oh my god, yeah, weird times. And then, after that, we got a job at a beer keller, which, if you don't know, is a German beer place, and we sold 100 different types of beers, which we had to know from all over the world, and people would literally get on the tables and dance. Like, that was the whole point of it. It was like the beer keller. You get.
I don't know how they got approved for that for like health and safety in the UK. 'Cause, I mean, we take it to the extreme in the UK.
we worked in some weird places, but after that, no more bars. That was the last bar we worked at, and then
because we studied education, we then started working within education.
Yeah.
And now here we are back again, back in
with
education.
Our teaching degrees, and yeah, it's very different from bar work. I can say that. Yeah. Teaching.
I don't know. There are a lot of similarities. The kids can be pretty rude. It's a bit like the customers.
The battery just died because we've been chatting for so long, so we're going to finish it up with this question, which is, are you ever nervous driving around different countries? So if you didn't know, we've driven a lot. We've done a lot of camper van travel around Europe, and then Japan, and then we moved to Thailand. So I used to be the main driver, because for insurance reasons it was always sort of cheaper for me to be the driver, because I'm slightly older, and if you're a female it's just cheaper.
It's cheaper. If you're under 25 as a guy living in the southeast of England, insurance is just insane.
So I just was the driver for about 3 years. I was like the only driver.
It seems like yesterday when I was teaching Emma to drive a moped in the middle of a car park.
A village hall car park.
In a village hall car park near a house. So we got
we went on eBay and found a
impulse buy,
a 1990s
Renault Traffic.
And I was so scared because it was the biggest thing I'd ever driven. I mean, in hindsight, it wasn't long, but it was very tall.
It was tall, but it was reasonably short in terms of like campers. But it was also good in a way that I wasn't able to drive, because actually Emma had to, because it's like, well, I'm not insured. I'm not insured. Sorry. But in doing that, Emma quickly got confident in driving, and then from that.
So after getting that camper van, I literally drove to the south of Spain, and in 2 days of driving, and drove through Bordeaux and all these places, and I was really scared, and especially as you're driving on the other side of the road, and because it's bigger, there's the road placement and the parking and all that stuff. But really, if you're scared and worried about that, you really just have to do it.
Throw you in the deep end.
You have to realise that there's actually not that much to worry about. It's actually not that bad when you do it.
And suddenly we bought a 7-metre Mercedes Sprinter.
Long wheelbase.
So
I was the driver.
Practically the longest thing that you can legally drive on a standard UK licence.
Yeah.
And
I became very confident in driving that. I literally drove up in the Alps, all over Europe.
But then what's funny is Emma got so used to parking a 7-metre van, is that when we then got a car, when we go in the car and Emma would drive, she would literally do the swing round in a hatchback. We bought a Corsa, and in a hatchback she'd do the swing round like she's driving a lorry, and people would look at her like she's nuts.
I couldn't park normal cars. I got so used to parking a massive long van that took up 2 spaces.
But it was so weird for me because seeing you used to act like you'd struggled like parking a KA. But then you got to the stage where you were so good at parking a 7-metre Sprinter.
Yeah,
when you
really
then drove a normal car, it's like you couldn't park it because you were so used to driving a big one.
Yeah, but when I first started driving it, I used to get really nervous and anxious about driving. One thing I would say is, if you are going to drive something big, try and work out where you're going to park. Try and plan ahead where there is going to be parking. I think when you're worrying so much, it's like I got to a stage where I realised most of the time that I was just worrying for nothing. And I think if you're worried to drive abroad, you just have to realise there's actually most of your concerns are just not going to be worth worrying about. Although the one time when there was a problem is Italy, and if you're in Italy, be careful of the sat-nav directions, because I was driving the 7-metre van, and it took me down this road that was so small I couldn't make the turn, and it was a one-way street that was so tiny, and there was no turning room, and it was about, I don't know, like half a kilometre long road, and I had to reverse back up it with cars behind me to try and get out of this sticky situation.
And I had to get out trying to direct traffic as well as trying to direct Emma into it. I'm not sure if we've got any footage of it, but the road was so tight. I mean, there was inches in it from hitting the wall, hitting another car, and then the whole street, because it was blocked, the whole street then had to reverse back. And then there was no turning room because it was a 7-metre van.
And there were all these old houses right next to it, and people were coming out. Like,
people were scared, thinking, "Are you going to hit my house?" Like these weird British people coming around destroying our town.
And what's worse is we could have literally just carried on the same road we were on before that, and it was a Mengen road.
Basically, if you've got a TomTom, change your settings to not put fastest route, put the straightest route. Yeah, that
was the one time where the concern was actually like worth worrying about. But I feel like we've been talking for a very long time, so I think it's time to probably wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope we weren't boring. Yeah, if you have any other questions, let us know in the comments, and we'll either get back to you or save them for another Q&A down the line.
Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one. Bye!